The cold water hit me like a betrayal I never saw coming, my brother's hands on my back, shoving me off the dock into the murky Hudson River. His face twisted not in rage but in cold calculation, whispering, "You were always in the way." "Cora," I gasped, lungs burning as the current dragged me under, the lights of the city's skyline blurring into a final, mocking sparkle. And in that drowning black, I realized this wasn't an accident. It was the end of everything I'd built for him. But death isn't the blackout Hollywood sells. It's a scream that echoes back, ripping you from the void. And suddenly, I was choking on air again. Not river filth, but the sterile tang of my old apartment. My body slamming back into the morning of the wedding rehearsal, 3 days before the shove. Heart pounding like a war drum, I bolted upright in bed, staring at my hands, younger, unscarred, alive, and laughed. A jagged, furious sound. I'd been given a second chance. And this time, I'd bury them before they buried me. It was June in New York, the kind of sticky summer heat that clings to your skin like regret. And the city was buzzing with pre-wedding frenzy. My brother, Ethan, was marrying Lila Voss, heiress to a chain of boutique hotels that screamed old money with a modern twist. The sort of girl who'd smile at you while mentally appraising your net worth. I'd sunk everything into this wedding, my savings from the graphic design firm I'd bootstrapped after Mom died, connections I'd leveraged from years of schmoozing in Brooklyn lofts, even pulling strings with vendors who'd owe me favors from freelance gigs. Ethan was the baby of the family, the golden boy who'd flunked out of Columbia but somehow charmed his way into Lila's world. And I'd always been the fixer, the one who patched the holes in his life while he partied through mine. "You're the strong one, Cora," Mom used to say, her voice frail from the chemo that finally won. Strong enough to forgive him for borrowing my car and totaling its senior year. Strong enough to co-sign his loans when Dad bailed after the divorce. Strong enough, apparently, to die for his ambition. That first morning back, God, the disorientation was a gut punch. I stumbled to the bathroom mirror, expecting the bloated corpse they'd fish out of the river. But there I was, 32, sharp cheekbones, dark hair and that messy bob I'd sworn I'd grow out someday. The date on my phone confirmed it, June 15th, rehearsal dinner eve. My phone buzzed, text from the florist confirming the peony cascades, the caterer locking in the lobster thermidor. And there, buried in my inbox, the first red flag I'd ignored last time, an email from Lila's assistant, politely suggesting I sit out the family photos to keep the aesthetic clean. Aesthetic. Like I was a smudge on her Instagram perfect day. Last round. I'd laughed it off, chalking it up to bridal nerves. This time, I screenshotted it, filed it under Exhibit A, and poured a double espresso. Revenge wasn't a hot rush, it was a slow burn, and I had 3 days to stoke the fire. By noon, I was knee-deep in the past I now knew like a scar. Ethan and Lila's engagement had been a whirlwind, 6 months from, "I do," whispers at a Hamptons gala to this blowout at the plaza. I'd footed half the bill anonymously through a shell account, because Ethan begged, "Lila's family expects perfection. Sis. Just this once." Lies. I'd hacked into his email later, post-death clarity hits different, and found the threads. Lila's dad, Victor Voss, grooming Ethan for a VP spot at Voss Hotels. But only if he cleaned house. House meaning me. Turns out, my firm had landed a contract with a rival chain, and Victor saw me as a leak waiting to happen. Ethan? He didn't just go along. He pitched the idea. Emails dripping with his signature charm. Cora's loyal. But loyalty's a liability in business. The dock shove? Clean up for when I started asking questions about the accidental sabotage of my office files. Files that could have exposed their merger scam. Laundering Voss kickbacks through fake renovations. I didn't cry this time.
No.
I channeled Mom's old advice. When life's a knife, fight. Cora, sharpen your own blade. First call, my lawyer buddy, Jax, over at a midtown firm. Hypothetical, I said, voice steady as steel. If I had proof of fraud in a family wedding budget shell companies, inflated invoices, could I pull the plug mid-ceremony? Jax whistled low. Legally? Sure. If it's your money. But Cora, that's scorched earth. You torch bridges you can't rebuild.
Good.
Bridges were for cowards. By evening, I'd compiled the dossier, bank statements, vendor contracts in my name, Ethan's drunken voice memos plotting my relocation to the bottom of the river. Sleep came fitful, dreams of water closing over my head, but morning brought clarity. This wasn't just payback, it was reclamation. I'd built their empire on my back, now I'd watch it crumble under theirs. Rehearsal dinner at Lila's penthouse overlooking Central Park. Last time, I'd shown up in a thrift store sheath, beaming like the doting sister. This round, I went full armor. Crimson silk dress that hugged like a threat, heels that clicked like countdowns. Ethan greeted me at the door. All boyish grin and cologne that screamed, I borrowed this from Dad's ghost.
Sis.
You look killer. Lila's been asking about you. Lies layered like fondant. Lila air-kissed my cheeks, her diamond tennis bracelet glinting like a warning. Cora, darling, the planner says we're over budget on linens. Any magic you can work? Over budget because she'd swap my simple ivory for imported Belgian lace at twice the price. I smiled, sweet as arsenic. Already handled. Enjoy the night. As cocktails flowed, top-shelf gin for the Voss elite, cheap Prosecco for the help, I slipped into the study, laptop open, routing payments through my app. One tap, and the florist's direct deposit reversed.
2.
Caterers bounced. 3. The band's gig fee. Vaporized.
Petty?
Hell yes. But it was the appetizer. Dinner dragged. Toasts to new beginnings. Victor Voss droning about legacy, like he hadn't built his on Daddy's Prohibition rum runners. Ethan caught my eye across the table. That flicker of unease, the same one from the dock. Right before the push. Everything good? Cora, he murmured. Hand on my arm. I patted it, gentle as a guillotine. Never better. Lila leaned in, breath minty, with entitlement. So, Cora, still single? Plenty of eligible Voss cousins here. Subtext, you're the spinster sidekick, know your lane. Last time, I'd blushed, deflected. This time, actually, focusing on my firm. Big merger coming, might even edge out some hotel chains. Her smile cracked, just a hair. Victor's fork paused midair. Seed planted. By midnight, as cabs ferried the drunk and delighted home, I lingered on the terrace, city lights winking like conspirators. Ethan joined me, sloshing scotch. Lila's amazing, right? We're gonna crush it. Crush me. You mean? I nodded, then dropped the bomb casual as confetti. Heard about the Voss audit. IRS sniffing around those Reno costs. His face drained. Boom. Bingo.
What?
Where'd you hear that? I shrugged. Connections. But hey, if you need a consultant. He waved it off. But the seed sprouted thorns overnight. Back in my apartment, I upped the ante. Anonymous tip to the wedding coordinator. Flagging irregularities in payments. By dawn, my phone lit up, vendors scrambling. Invoices frozen pending verification. Day 2. And the house of cards was already tilting. The real work was emotional excavation. I'd always been the good girl, forgiving Ethan's screw-ups, ignoring Lila's barbs because family trumped fairy tales. But death strips illusions bare. That afternoon, I drove to Mom's old brownstone in Harlem, now a rental I couldn't bear to sell. Rifling through her attic boxes, I found the letters, Dad's abandonment notes, Ethan's juvenile arrest records I'd buried with bribes for my first paycheck.
And there,
Tucked in a Bible, Mom's will, unaltered, leaving me the bulk because Ethan chases shadows, Cora builds light. Shadows. Like the ones he drowned me in. Tears came then, hot and unbidden, but they fueled the forge. By evening, Jax had drafted the kill shot, a public lien on the wedding assets, tied to my loans. You sure? He asked. This ends bloodlines. Bloodlines that ended me first. Day 3 dawned with chaos emails, band canceling, DJ ghosting. Lila's frantic texts, Cora WDF? Fix this. I replied, on it. See you at the altar. The ceremony was at noon. Plaza's grand ballroom, crystal chandeliers. Society pages snapping pics. I arrived early, black sheath whispering promises, dossier in my clutch like a loaded gun. Guests milled, Lila's Botox dandies, Ethan's frat boy groomsmen. Victor cornered me in the foyer, cigar breath heavy. Heard rumblings about payments. Family matter, handle it discreetly.
discreetly.
Like shoving a sister into the river at midnight. Of course, I purred. Family first. As the organ swelled, I took my seat front row, uninvited but unchallenged. Ethan, tuck sharp as a shank.
Winked.
Lila, veil ethereal, glided in. Vows exchanged. Rings slipped on. And then the recessional. That's when she did it, last life. Same script. As we posed for family pics, Lila sidled up, voice honeyed venom. Cora, sweetie, step back. The photographer says you're throwing off the symmetry.
Symmetry.
Like I was the flaw in her flawless frame. Guests tittered. Ethan chuckled nervously. The room's eyes on me, pitying, amused. Last time, I'd slunk away, tail between legs, straight to the after-party, where the doc waited. This time, I straightened, smile ablade. Symmetry?
Oh.
Honey, that's the least of your problems. The ballroom hushed as I pulled out my phone. The screen's glow cutting through the champagne haze like a siren's call. Lila's eyes narrowed, that predatory squint I'd clocked in boardrooms. The one that said, I own this narrative. Ethan shifted, his best man bro whispering, Dude, your sister's about to go full bridezilla on your bride. But I wasn't raging, I was revealing. With a few swipes, I synced my laptop to the AV system. Thank you. Freelance tech hacks, and the massive projector screens flanking the head table flickered to life. Not slides of tropical honeymoons or cutesy couple memes. No, line items.
Stock.
Black and white ledgers of every dime I'd poured in, cross-referenced with Voss Hotel's offshore accounts. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced, voice amplified, steady as a gavel. Before we toast to love eternal, let's toast to the truth. Because in this family, debts don't die at I do. Gasps rippled like dominoes. Victor Voss choked on his mimosa, face purpling under the spray tan. Lila's maid of honor, her cousin, all extensions and entitlement, clutched her bouquet like a shield. The screen scrolled, $25,000 floral overcharge. Funneled to a Voss shell for consulting fees, $40,000 catering markup. Ethan's signature approving the skim. And the kicker, my $100,000 gift, co-signed loans now tagged fraudulent inducement. I let it hang. The room's AC humming the only sound, then dropped the hammer. As of this moment, every payment's reversed. Venue hold. Vendors off the hook.
Honeymoon suite?
Evicted by noon. Lila whirled on Ethan, veil whipping like a flag of surrender. You said she was handled. Handled. Echoes of the dock. His hands firm on my spine. Chaos erupted. Guests murmuring. Phones whipping out for damage control selfies. Ethan's groomsmen surged forward. But security, my security, tipped off via jacks, blocked the aisle. Cora. What the fuck? Ethan hissed, grabbing my arm, that boyish mask cracking into something feral. I wrenched free, close enough to smell his fierce sweat. What the fuck? Like pushing your sister into the Hudson, so your in-laws promote you? Yeah. Brother. We're even. His eyes widened, recognition?
No.
Just bluff called. Lila lunged, nails out. You're ruining everything. Jealous spinster bitch. The room inhaled. A Voss auntie actually applauded. Wine glass raised. Controversial? Hell. It was cathartic. I laughed. Low and real. Jealous? Of a merger masked as matrimony?
Nah.
But watch this. Another tap. IRS tip line confirmation. Anonymous but timestamped to my IP clean. Untraceable. Victor bellowed. You'll pay for this. You ungrateful. But I cut him off. Screens shifting to Mom's will. Her looping script projected large. To Cora. My builder. Ethan. Learn to stand alone. The recessional became a rout. Lila stormed to the bridal suite. Ethan trailing like a whipped dog. Guests milled, some slipping out with awkward hugs. Call me. Cora. We need to talk business. Others glared. Voss loyalists clustering like storm clouds. I stood there, pulse thundering. The weight of the river gone, but the tide of what-ifs crashing in. Had I gone too far? Torched the only family I had? No, the family that torched me first. As the plaza staff cordoned the room for private resolution, Jax texted, lien filed. Assets frozen. Good. But revenge's afterglow is fleeting. By cocktail hour's corpse. Doubt crept in. What now? Rebuild alone? Or chase the shadows deeper? I slipped into the service elevator, emerging into the sweltering alley behind the hotel. New York summer. Garbage trucks rumbling like distant thunder. My phone exploded. Voicemails from Ethan, sis. Let's talk, mistake. Lila, you'll regret this. You crazy cunt. Even Dad from his Florida condo heard the drama. Proud of you, kid.
Proud.
The word twisted like a knife. I hailed a cab to Brooklyn. My firm's loft overlooking the East River, not the Hudson. Never again. The space was a time capsule, mood boards for Voss campaigns I designed pro bono. Coffee rings from all-nighters covering Ethan's bar tabs. I poured bourbon, top shelf. A wedding leftover, and scrolled the dossier's dark corners. That's when the deeper rot surfaced. Not just fraud, but the why. Lila's emails to her sorority sisters. Pre-engagement. Ethan's cute, but his sister's the real asset. Leverage her, then leverage him. And Ethan's reply chain with Victor. Cora's digging too deep on the audits.
Post-wedding.
We relocate her, quietly. Relocate. Code for eliminate. The doc was an impulse. It was premeditated. Post-reception when I confronted him about the discrepancies. Tipsy on hurt and champagne. Family sticks together, I'd pleaded. His smile. Not when it sinks the ship.
Now.
With the wedding in flames. They'd scramble, cover tracks. Maybe accelerate the plan. Paranoia? Or prudence? I called Jax again. Voice low. Escalate. Full forensic on Voss books. And Ethan, probable cause for assault. He paused. Cora, that's perjury territory without evidence. Evidence, my word. A ghost's testimony. But I had the emails. Timestamps aligning with my disappearance.
Det är vei.
Bill me double. Night fell. City neon bleeding through blinds. Sleep evaded. Replaced by visions. Mom's funeral. Ethan weeping on my shoulder while pocketing her jewelry to pawn. My first love. Ghosted because Ethan needed my focus for his startup flop. Patterns of plunder. Dawn brought resolve. This wasn't just payback, it was purge. By 9 a.m., I was at the firm, rallying my team, 3 designers, wide-eyed over coffee. Change of clients, I announced. Voss is toxic. Pivot to independence, boutique hotels, eco chains. Double down on ethics audits. They nodded, buzzing. I'd always been the steady hand, but now I was the storm. Calls poured in, vendors thanking me for the honest out, one even offering a referral. The wedding's fallout was fertilizer. Mid-morning. A knock, unexpected, electric. Lila. Solo. No entourage. In yesterday's gown wrinkled like defeat. We need to talk. Her eyes. Red-rimmed. No mascara armor. I buzzed her in. Gestures cool. Coffee poured black. No sugar for the bitter. She paced. Heels sinking into carpet. Ethan's a mess. Victor's threatening disownment. You won. Okay? Call it off.
Won.
Like it was a game. I leaned back. Steepled fingers. Call what off? The truth? Or the part where your daddy plans to relocate inconvenient sisters? Her flinch confirmed it, knew more than she let on. That's not. Ethan wouldn't. But her voice cracked. Doubts fracture. I slid a printout across. Her own email. CCNG Victor on my liability status. She scanned. Blanched. This is forgery. Timestamped your IP. Lila. Care to explain? She deflated. Sinking into a chair, vulnerable, almost human. It was business. Voss eats its young. Ethan. He loves you, but ambition's a drug.
Loves.
Past tense in my book. And you? Collateral? She met my gaze. Steel resurfacing. I did what I had to. But Cora, please. The scandal's viral. TikTok's calling me gold digger. Ethan a patsy. We can fix this. Joint statement. Family spat. All good. Tempting the easy out. Olive branch. But the river's chill lingered in my bones.
No.
But I'll pause the liens. If you spill everything. Names. Accounts. The doc contingency. Her laugh. Brittle. Blackmail now? Classy. Survival.
You taught me that.
She talked, halting at first, then torrent. Victor's empire. Kickbacks from city contracts. Ethan's role as bagman. My sabotage? Preemptive. When I queried an invoice anomaly. The doc. Ethan's idea. Her silent nod. He said it'd look like suicide. Your history, Mom's death. The breakdowns. Breakdowns I'd faked to cover his messes. By noon. Recording done.
Jacques en route.
Lila rose.
Composed.
This ends us all. Or just the rot. She left.
Door clicking like a lock turning.
Afternoon blurred. Jack's transcribing. Me pitching new clients. Surge of interest. Irony's gift. Ethan called blocked. Voicemail. Monster. You'll die alone. Alone beat drowned. Evening. Solo dinner at a Williamsburg dive. Burgers rare. Beer cold. A text from an unknown. Saw the feed. Ballsy. Drinks.
Sender Mia.
Old college roommate. Now a Times reporter. Networking or net. Either way. Threads weaving. But night brought the twist shadow. Scrolling X, formerly Twitter, Voss wedding crash trending. Memes of my podium stance captioned, Sister Strikes Back. Buried in replies. A DM from an anon account. You think that's the end?
Check the river cam.
11:47 p.m. Wedding night. Heart stutter. Had they recorded?
No.
The shove was later. After party. But the timestamp.
My death.
Clicked the link. Grainy feed.
Dockside.
Figures arguing.
Me.
Gesturing wild. Ethan. Backing away. Then the push. Blurry. But damning. Sender. Your proof. But watch your back. They're not done. Who? Ally or trap? Sleep came armed. Door bolted. Mind racing. Revenge's pyre burns hot. But ember scar. The DM haunted me like a ghost in the machine. Anonymous handle at Riverwatcher42. Profile pic a pixelated Hudson silhouette. I screenshotted. Forwarded to Jax. Trace this. Priority. His reply. On it. But Cora. If it's bait. Bait for what? The new side slipped last life? Morning coffee tasted bitter. Brooklyn brownstones mocking with their domestic bliss. I couldn't hole up. Momentum was my shield. By 10 a.m., I was in a midtown cafe. Mia across the booth, blonde bob. Reporter's edge honed by Pulitzers. Spill, she said. Notebook out. Eyes gleaming. Not for print yet. Woman to woman. I waited. Exposure's double edge. Off record. Fraud. Fratricide attempt. Proof pending. She whistled. Page 1 stuff. But why me? You covered Mom's obit fare. Others spun it as tragic overdose to bury Ethan's dealer ties. Her nod. Trust earned.
All right.
Feed me docs. I'll verify. We talked angles. Me too for family betrayal. White-collar wolves in tuxes. Mia's questions peeled layers. My guilt. Propping Ethan's facade. The thrill of the crash. Addictive as forbidden fruit. Controversial call, she mused. Public shaming. Hero or villain?
Villain zuitet, heroes die quiet.
As we parted, Jax called, DM's VPN through Toronto. Burner.
But the vid? Real.
Timestamp matches your incident.
Incident.
Euphemism for murder. Enhance it. Faces.
Audio. Done.
But Cora, cops.
Cops meant scrutiny.
My prints on the gifts.
Feds.
Voss is interstate. Wheels turning. Gears grinding. Afternoon. Firms pivot in full swing. New client bites. A queer-owned resort chain. Ethics first. Paying triple VOS rates. My team thrived. Sketches blooming like rebellion. But paranoia prickled. A tail? Black SUV idling across the street.
Dated menace.
Shook it off, city paranoia, but upped the Uber rides. Evening brought confrontation. Ethan. Unannounced at my door. Disheveled in yesterday's tux. Eyes bloodshot. Let me in.
Cora.
Please. Against better judgment, or was it? I did. He collapsed on the couch. Head in hands. Lila left. Victor cut me off. It's over. Schadenfreude soured quick. This was my brother. Once building forts in Mom's garden. Over? Like you planned for me. He flinched. The doc, that wasn't. I was drunk.
Scared.
Lila pushed. Lila. Twist one. Blame shift. I laughed.
Cold.
Your emails say different. Relocate Cora post-ceremony. He paled. Forged. She's twisting it. Denial's flimsy veil. I played the recording. Lila's confession. Voice tinny but true. His face crumpled. Rage. Then revelation. She played us both. Victor's puppet.
Us.
Daring to claim solidarity.
No.
Ethan. You chose the strings. He begged therapy, restitution, family reboot, tears genuine, or actor's craft. I wavered. The fixer in me itching. Prove it.
Testify.
Against Voss. His hesitation, damning. Cora. That's treason to the life your life. Mine ended in the river. He left at dawn. Shoulders slumped. But the seed? Planted. Doubt's poison. Day 4 post-rebirth, media storm. Mia's anonymous leak. Wedding woe. Sibling sabotage or corporate cover-up? Hit drudge. Snowballing to CNN tickers. Voss stock dipped 3%. Victor's face on Bloomberg. Sputtering smear campaign. My inbox. Death threats from trolls. Congrats from strangers. Queen of clapback. Controversial? X-Wars erupted. Cancel Cora versus. Sister solidarity. Feminists hailed empowerment. Trads decried feminazi family wrecker. I scrolled numb. Bourbon my buffer. Then. The call. Unknown number. Victor's gravel. Meet me. Neutral ground. Or the vid goes viral. Your suicide attempt. Leverage.
My heart iced. Plaza Lounge.
Noon. He arrived mobster smooth, bespoke suit. Cigar unlit. Flanked by suits that screamed fixer. Table corner. Shadows long. Impressive theater. Emmis.
Hail.
But overreach. Overreach? From the man who'd greenlit my drowning. Call it balance. Your books or the feds. He chuckled. Low thunder.
Bluff. No proof sticks.
I slid the enhanced still. Ethan mid-shove. My face contorted. His calm cracked, micro-flinch. Photoshop. Audio next. You were always in the way. Lie water muffled, but his eyes darted. Blackmail's federal. Girl. Girl. Condescension's hook. So's attempted murder. Your move.
Sistalet hum.
Then, what do you want? Not apology. Empire's currency is concession. Ethan's freedom. Your resignation. And $2 mil. Mom's share. Plus interest. Greed's mask slipped. Calculation gleamed.
Done.
But drop the liens. Silence the press. Trap or truce? I nodded. Recording app live. Agreed.
Post meet.
Jax. Wire transfer incoming clean. But Victor's got reach. Watch shadows. Shadows lengthened literal. That SUV again. Tailing my cab to Harlem. Mom's brownstone. Haven turned haunt.
Inside.
Rifling for solace. I found it. Hidden panel. Dad's old ledger. Bootleg tallies from Voss Origins. Gold mine. Ties to Ethan's startup. Money laundered through my wedding gifts. Jackpot. But as I photographed. Window creak. Footsteps below. Heart slamming. I bolted to the fire escape. City abyss yawning. Pursuer? Or panic? Drop to alley. Sprinted blocks. Lungs fire. Safe house. Mia's walk up. Questions mercifully few. Crash here. I've got sources in IA. Cops on peril. Night 2 at Mia's. Wine-fueled war stories. Her divorce scars mirroring mine. Men like Ethan. Charms camouflage. Dawn brought alliance. Her editor greenlit a series. My docs is backbone. But twist 2 struck via text from Ethan. Lila's skipping town. Victor's sending cleaners. River Cam was me, sorry.
Me.
Brother as savior? Or Judas Redux? I called. Voice steal. Explain. Static. Then, hacked the feed post-shove. Couldn't go through with framing you. But Cora, run. They're coming.
Click. Deadline.
Run? From my city. My life?
No. Stand.
Crisis peaked at dusk. Voss Gala. Charity facade for schmoozing Pauls. Invite forged via Jax. Crash the viper nest. Velvet ropes parted. Inside. Chandeliers dripped opulence. Victor holding court. Lila there solo.
Got.
Scanning exits. Our eyes locked. Predator to prey? She approached. Flute trembling. Truce. Voice whisper.
Why?
Ethan told me everything. The push was his panic. My complicity. But Victor. He's the head. Head to sever. We huddled unlikely packed, her spilling contingencies, safe houses, payoffs. Help me expose him. I'll flip. Motive? Self-preservation. Or worm-turning. Trust thin. But timely. Ethan arrived late. Ghost pale. Cornered by Victor's glares. Signal. My nod. As speeches droned, Victor's on legacy. I synced to the ballroom screens. Mia's feed live streaming. Not ledgers. Voices. Ethan's confession voicemail.
Lilaster ful mea culpa.
Victor's meet audio. Handle the girl. Gasps crescendoed. Security swarmed. But feds, tipped by Jax, burst in. Badges flashing. Victor Voss. You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder. Chaos. Screams.
Stampede.
Flashes popping. Victor lunged at me, thwarted by Ethan. Tackling his mentor. No more. You bastard. Brother's redemption? Or spotlight grab? In the melee, Lila vanished, slipped the knot. Twist 3, her shadow texts later. Loose ends tie tight. Thanks for the out. Betrayals echo. But Victor cuffed. Ethan detained as witness. The room's eyes on me. Avenger. Architect. Cops hauled me aside. MS.
Hale.
Statement. Truth half spun. Accident turned assault. My intuition on fraud. Omissions art. As dawn broke over handcuffed excess, I exhaled, River's grip broken. But victory's ash. Family fractured. Trust toxin. The fallout was a media monsoon. Headlines screaming, heiress empire crumbles. Murder plot at the altar? From the Post to the Guardians, American Dynasty's dark underbelly. Victor Voss in Rikers. Bail denied. His mugshot the tabloid toast of the town. Ethan cut a deal. Witness protection light. Testifying for reduced manslaughter charge. It was the fear, he wrote in a letter smuggled via Jax. Scrawled like a kid's apology. You are the sun. Cora, I eclipsed you to shine. Poetic bullshit. But the postscript stung. Forgive? Or, at least, don't hate. Hate? Too clean a word. I filed it with Mom's letters history. Not heart. Lila? Ghosted into vapor. Private jet to Dubai. Per Mia sources. Voss slush fund her parachute. Her final whisper. Pre-vanish. We were all monsters in that mirror. Maybe. But mirrors crack. I swept shards. Week 1 post-gala. Seclusion in a Jersey rental. Blinds drawn. Take out my companion. Dreams replayed the shove. Waters roar. Ethan's silhouette, but waking broad audits. My firm's books booming. New contracts flooding from scandal-shy course-seeking ethical rebrands. Mia's series dropped 3-parter. Pulitzer bait, painting me not villain, but vigilante. Cora Hale, the sister who saved herself. Sales spiked, book deals pinged. Controversial? Protests outside my old office. Feminists chanting blood over bonds. Trads picketing, destroyer of decency. I waved from the window once. Anonymous in shades. Let them argue. I'd won the war. Jax handled the civil suits. Voss assets liquidated. My gifts refunded triple via penalties. $6 mill wired, Mom's legacy. Amplified. I donated half. Women's shelters. Drowning prevention NGOs. The rest? Firm expansion Brooklyn to LA. Ethical Design Collective. Team grew. Diverse hires.
Non-nepotism tant.
Mia became partner in crime. Our brunches dissecting betrayals over bottomless mimosas. Twists coming, she warned. Ever the cynic. No story ends tidy. She was half right. Month 2. The hearing. Federal Courthouse. Manhattan's marble mausoleum. I testified, cool. Clipped. Discrepancies noticed. Threats implied. Gala the tipping point. No river mention. That stayed buried. Ethan's vid my ace. Unshared. Victor glowered from the dock. Silk tie askew. His not guilty a growl. Lila extradited?
No, diplomatic stole.
UAE stonewalling. Ethan took the stand. Voice cracking. She was family. I broke us. Jury tiered. Judges gavel mercy. 15 to life for Vic. 5 for Ethan with parole. Post-verdict. He approached in the hall. Cuffs glinting. Guards hovering. Cora. One word. Ocean deep. I met his eyes, blue like Mom's. Not the river's murk. Right when you're clean. Not forgiveness. Possibility. He nodded. Led away. Door clanged. Chapter close. But twists don't telegraph, they ambush. Fall hit. Leaves turning Central Park crimson like warning flares. My firm thrived. LA launch gala. A-listers toasting Hale House. Designs that endure. I wore red. Bold as blood, not spilled. That's when the envelope arrived, no postmark. Hand-delivered to the venue. Cream stock. Lila's script. Dearest Cora. Loose ends?
Itard mina.
But yours dangles. Ask Ethan about the safe deposit box, Grand Central. Key in his cufflink. Heart stutter, cufflink. The one I'd gifted. Engraved, brothers forever. Panic's old friend. Midnight train to Penn. Then sprint to the station vaults. Key fit, box yawned. Flash drive. Labeled insurance. Back in the hotel suite, mirrored vanity mocking, I plugged in. Files bloomed. Not boss fraud. But mine. Forged docs, my signature on kickback approvals.
Amazing, gralikting Ethan scams.
Deepfakes. My face on vid calls, authorizing laundering. Time-stamped pre-wedding. Alibi proof. Lila's note attached. You were always the weak link. I made sure. Burn it. Or bloom. Bloom? Blackmail's bouquet. Rage boiled. Her escape hatch. My noose.
Why?
Spite's poetry. Or Victor's dying gasp. Called Jacks? Cops? No, evidence clean.
I de ferra y col·lateral.
Instead, Mia. 3 a.m. call. Hack it back. Origin trace. Her laugh. Sleepy sharp. On it. Avenger. Dawn revealed. Lila's hand. But Ethan's access, pre-shove uploads. His insurance against me flipping first. Double betrayal. Layered like lies. Mia's tech was scrubbed the cloud echoes. But the originals? In her Dubai vault. Ticking bomb. Confront Ethan? Pen pal purgatory. Letter sent. Box empty. Explain. Reply weeks later. Thought it leverage on Vic. Lila stole the keys in the chaos. Forgive the fool.
Fool.
We'd all been. But the drive? I formatted it. Ashes in the Hudson. Irony's full circle. Let her bluff. I'd built firewalls. Winter thawed to spring. Year 1 post-rebirth. Firm global. Me on panels. Resilience in ruins. Dating? Casual. Architect with laugh lines. No family entanglements. Mia's wedding invite pinged. Ironic. Her to a journalist rival. RSVP. Wouldn't miss the drama. Ethan paroled early, model inmate, relocated to Seattle. Consulting clean. Letter enclosed photo. Him. Sober suit. AA chip glinting. Rebuilding. You taught me.
Taught.
The teacher in me softened. The survivor watched. Twist final landed soft. Pregnancy test. 2 lines. Mine not planned, but pulse of possibility. The architect stepped up. No shove in sight. We named her Echo, rebounds reminder. Lila's shadow? Faded. Arrested in a money laundering bust. Her insurance seized. Plea deal naming Voss ghosts. Victor died in prison heart attack. Whispers of poison and proven. Ethan visited once. Awkward park picnic. Echo gurgling between us. Uncle, she babbled. He teared.
Yeah. Kid.
Uncle tries.
Tries.
Enough for now. Rebirth's gift, not vengeance's blaze. But dawn after drown. I stand stronger. Scars etched but not defining. The river flows on.
But I walk banks dry.
Controversial end? No tidy bows, betrayals linger. But so does grace. In America's grind. That's the real hook. Survive. Then thrive. And damn if it doesn't feel like winning.